Just when United fans feared the worst, Matias Cunha has lifted spirits with a promising injury update. The £62.5 million striker, forced off against Burnley, is back in the gym, and his return could be crucial. Ahead of the showdown with Manchester City, Matias Cunha has given Manchester United a timely fitness boost after sharing a positive update on his injury. Cunha was forced off during United's 3-2 win over Burnley before the international break, sparking fears he could be set for a spell on the sidelines. The £62.5 million summer signing from Wolves went down in the first half of the Premier League game, clutching his right hamstring. Both he and Mason Mount picked up injuries in the match, which took the shine off United's first league win of the season. Cunha was forced to pull out of Brazil's squad for their World Cup qualifiers in the international break. He reassured fans by saying that he'll be back soon though, and there was more good news on the Brazilian's Instagram account. Posting a photo of himself on an exercise bike in the gym, Cunha wrote, "The time is flying," alongside a clock emoji and dynamite emoji. He then shared another photo of him posing with a UFC wristband saying, "Obrigado pela moral," which translates to "thanks for the moral." Ruben Amorim will be desperate to have Cunha available for their trip to face Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday. United have picked up where they left off last season, struggling for creativity, despite spending over £200 million on new forwards. They opened the campaign with a 1-0 defeat by Arsenal, before a 1-1 draw against Fulham, and an embarrassing defeat by Grimsby on penalties. The win over Burnley came via a late penalty, and Amorim expressed his worries post-match. It was hard to lose Cunha and Mason Mount, because Mason Mount played 30 minutes with an injury. He said, "I'm concerned about that, because they are so important for us. We will see." He added, "I don't know, how are they? I don't know, we will check them. We need those guys really bad to be really competitive." Amorim will get a clearer picture of Cunha's fitness levels in the coming days before he decides on his squad and line up for the Manchester derby. While Cunha is yet to get off the mark in a United shirt, his fellow new forward Bryan Mbeumo has now netted in back-to-back matches. The £71 million signing from Brentford scored in the defeat by Grimsby before finding the net against in the win over Burnley. Every game is hard and important. "We had the game with us in the first half, but we had to fight every minute," Amorim told BBC Match of the Day. "I'm very happy, and we win as well as a striker. It is important to be confident with goals." Pep Guardiola once warned about Jadon Sancho's mentality, and years later, that warning feels louder than ever. From Borussia Dortmund brilliance to Manchester United struggles, Chelsea disappointment, and now a fresh loan at Aston Villa, Sancho's career has come full circle in search of redemption. Pep Guardiola's warning over Jadon Sancho's mentality fell on deaf ears when Manchester United finally signed the winger back in 2021. Sancho broke through the Manchester City Youth Academy in 2017 under the Spanish boss. However, the 25-year-old failed to ever make a professional appearance for the citizens, as he was shipped off to Borussia Dortmund in a deal worth around £8 million. Asked in 2019 why Sancho was sold on, rather than deployed by Guardiola, the 54-year-old said, "I don't know. He didn't want to take this challenge to fight his way into the first team, this opportunity to discover if he was able to. He decided to go there, so it's perfect, it's going well, and congratulations on what he is doing. He is doing an incredible performance. He did it incredibly well this season. What would have happened this season at City? I don't know. Again, with the players, it depends on them and what they do on the pitch." While Guardiola was quick to share his delight that Sancho was seeing success in the Bundesliga, his comments regarding the winger's will to fight for his place may have sounded alarm bells among many managers. Sancho's tally of 50 goals and 64 assists in 137 outings for Die Schwarz-Gelben between 2017 and 2021 was alluring enough to see United snap him up in a £73 million move after a prolonged chase for his signature. But his tenure with the Red Devils has been far from smooth sailing in the years since. In his first 2 seasons at Old Trafford, Sancho managed just 9 Premier League goals from 55 games before he rejoined Dortmund after falling out with Erik ten Hag for his performances in training. Speaking following United's 3-1 loss to Arsenal back in September 2023, a game in which Sancho did not travel for, Ten Hag said, "Jadon, on his performances in training, we did not select him. You have to reach a level every day at Manchester United, and we can make choices in the front line. So for this game, he was not selected. Sancho, meanwhile, was quick to fire back at his manager's comments, claiming that he was being used as a scapegoat. He wrote on social media, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter which I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to the team. I respect all decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for this badge no matter what." The Englishman returned to Dortmund on a short-term loan in January 2024 before making his way back to the Red Devils in the summer, where he drew a line with Ten Hag on their disagreement. However, his tenure at Old Trafford didn't last long, joining Chelsea on a season-long loan with a £25 million obligation to buy dependent on performances. Despite a somewhat fruitful campaign with Chelsea, the board ultimately opted not to exercise their mandatory purchase, instead paying a £5 million penalty to see Sancho head back to the northwest under new boss Ruben Amorim. But yet again, his tenure at Old Trafford was curtailed when the Portuguese tactician deemed him surplus to requirements with regards to his own plans. As a result, Sancho has secured a transfer deadline day move to Aston Villa on loan, where he will hope for a Premier League resurgence under Unai Emery. Given that Sancho's contract expires next summer, there is no obligation to buy attached to the deal. However, the United board also have the option to extend his contract by a year to prevent him walking away from the club as a free agent. Manchester United's frantic deadline day gamble on Senna Lamens has been branded a desperate move after missing out on Emi Martínez, while Harry Maguire faces a defining call on his Old Trafford future amid Saudi interest. Manchester United's deadline day capture of Senna Lamens has been branded as desperate, amid suggestions a switch for Emi Martínez was agonisingly close. The Red Devils snapped up Belgian goalkeeper Lamens from Royal Antwerp in an £18.2 million deal on the final day of the summer transfer window. The move came after major concerns emerged about the form of Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir at the beginning of this campaign, following costly blunders from both. Aston Villa's Martínez was also strongly tipped for a late move to Old Trafford after being omitted from Unai Emery's squad for their loss to Crystal Palace last weekend. Martínez eventually stayed at Villa Park as United opted for Lamens instead. United supporters will be hoping the 23-year-old's arrival will put an end to the club's ongoing issues between the posts. However, former Red Devils keeper Ben Foster has cast serious doubt over whether Lamens is capable of securing the number one spot. The ex-England and Wrexham star branded the transfer a panic buy and queried whether United have done their homework on their new signing. Being a goalkeeper for United is the hardest goalkeeping position to play in world football, Foster said on his Fozcast podcast. You need someone with broad shoulders. I've watched a lot of videos of him on YouTube, and he looks on the eye test like he's a competent goalkeeper. I'm yet to see what he's like with the ball at his feet though, and I think he's a panic buy. United have probably always got some sort of list of goalkeepers that they look at and they keep tabs on. There will be scouts all over the world, but I don't think they've done an in-depth analysis. A deadline day goalkeeper signing tells me that your club is desperate. Harry Maguire has a decision to make on his future at Manchester United, with 2 Saudi Arabian clubs circling for the England defender. Maguire is open to moving to the Middle East, but will only consider it once the season has ended, and he knows where he sits in the pecking order at Old Trafford. The transfer window in Saudi Arabia will remain open until September 23rd, but the centre-half has no plans to move imminently, reports The Sun. Instead, the 32-year-old, who saw bids for him this summer, rejected by the Red Devils, will play out the campaign and see how the land lies. He is free to talk to overseas clubs from January, but has admitted that he could remain at Old Trafford beyond 2026. Speaking last month, he said over the next few months they'll sit down and we'll have a conversation about where we want to go, and if they want to extend. I have something in my mind about what I want to do and what I want to be. It's an amazing club to play for, and you'd be silly if you wanted to jump out of it as soon as you could. Maguire has appeared from the bench in 2 of United's 3 Premier League games so far, with his only start coming in the Carabao Cup loss at Grimsby Ruben Amorim has called on Maguire, who was previously the club's captain, to flourish in his role as one of the team's leaders, with the United boss admitting the squad is in need of more senior figures during their overhaul. He said previously there are moments in the career of a player that are different, and I think he coped very well with these struggles. When you look at our team, we are starving for leaders on the pitch. He is a leader. He has to improve that part. He has to improve his game, so we are happy to continue with Harry. Lamens conceded just 32 goals across 30 appearances for Royal Antwerp in Belgium's top flight last term, racking up 7 clean sheets. The shot stopper claimed the division's Player of the Month gong on 2 occasions, making 173 saves throughout the season. United boss Ruben Amorim had previously insisted he was content with his current crop of keepers, though attempts to secure fresh talent intensified as the transfer deadline approached. So far this season, United have gone with a back three of Matthijs de Ligt, Luke Shaw and Lenny Yoro. That has left Maguire watching on from the bench, with Lisandro Martínez still needing to come back from injury. The England star remains the most expensive defender of all time. Several Englishmen, some in their prime, others in the twilight years of their careers, have headed to the Middle East. Ivan Toney is currently playing in Saudi Arabia, whilst the likes of Jordan Henderson having a brief stint. Chris Smalling's also plying his trade there,